well, then what I would say to you is go ahead. And when she comes in, I'll have Karen or one of the registration people tell me when she enters. And in the meantime, I'll try to get in touch with her, and then you go ahead and do your part first.
Thank you, ma'am. Can everybody see my screen? Yes? Okay. Making sure everything is working. Okay, good. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jen Wareka. I am your 2021 treasurer, and it is a privilege and honor to be here to teach you a little bit about the money person. We are the money people. Okay. So we are the gatekeepers of the network's financial health. Congratulations, 2021 treasurers. You have one of the toughest jobs to do. I actually like it. I was a treasurer 2 years for El Paso del Norte. And if I was able to, I probably would have continued, but they decided I need to continue up the ladder. So that was what I have done. So you serve as the executive line officer. Your term of office is 1 year, but not more than 2 consecutive years. You are the liaison to the income producing task force. Everything that has to do with the network, you're going to be in communication with. Anything with from strategic partners to membership dues to membership mixers, anything that's having to do with monies, you're going to be involved in that committee. So if you have 10 events going on this coming year, you're going to be involved in those 10 events. Your attendance as an executive line officer is at all the network events. You attend the state leadership orientation like you're doing right now. And of course, attend the state and national conferences if your budget allows. That's an if your budget allows. You are the keeper of all financial records. Those taxes need to be get done regardless if you had $1 income or $50,000 income. Taxes need to be filed. The duties. Once again, the treasurer is the gatekeeper of the network funds and makes payments based only on the approved budget in accordance with the standing rules and bylaws. So not only do you have to know your budget, you also have to understand your standing rules and your bylaws. You work with the governing board to develop an annual budget. And you'll see some of those documents later on. Records should be kept in a cloud-based storage system such as Dropbox or the box.com. Box.com, I believe, is what everybody is using. That's what state uses. And of course, that information will get to you at a later time. Everything that you have to do with sending money out, receiving money, needs to be uploaded into your box, your folder. And then, of course, you do your audits. You do a quarterly audit and an annual financial audit. A phenomenal treasurer. You understand how the membership works. Understand how strategic partnership works and their importance to the network. Ms. Sylvia Siebold, she gave us a great presentation on how we need strategic partners, how we can work with them. Always know the upcoming events and the revenue. Understands the development and the cost associated with all the conferences and meetings. Knows the financial status of the network. That is something that you need to know very, very good before planning a next event. Keeps the network's insurance coverage current, keeps current on reporting taxes, helps to prepare for the next year. Transition and communication is a key to a successful network. Knows that a well-known, well-run network is a financially stable network. What do you need from your previous treasurer? Checkbook. Login information for QuickBooks or approved accounting software. Previous year tax records. Set up an appointment with your CPA, your bookkeeper. Every CPA bookkeeper does things differently. So get in touch with them to make sure that when it comes time to prepare those reports for your taxes, you know exactly what he needs. Some may want access to your QuickBooks account. Some may want an Excel file. El Paso has a older gentleman, our CPA. He does not do anything via email. We actually have to go in, make an appointment with him and talk and send them everything in Excel. Get the supplies, bank bag, deposit stamp, deposit slips, etc. Before you can receive the 2020 treasure books, they need to be audited. And we'll go into that in a little bit more. Your bank setup. You need to schedule an appointment with the current bank to add new signature cards and debit cards to all bank accounts. If you have one bank account, you have two bank accounts, you have your reserves, you have anything having to do with the bank account, you need to set up an appointment with your current bank to be able to get the president-elect, and treasurer. Before that, review your standing rules to find out who is a signer and receives a debit card. You really need to make sure you have the minutes of the elections and the board meeting that show who is going to remain on the account and who is to be added or removed. Your bank may require them. More than likely, they will require them, and they may have a specific format, or they may even have a form to provide you where it has to specifically say Jen Wadeka is being removed from account blah, 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 and Shai Rodriguez is added to this account, blah, 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 blah. So you need to make sure that you have the minutes according to how the bank needs them. If not, you're gonna be making a couple of trips out there and you're gonna need to make a check or something and nobody's gonna be able to do anything. You will need your driver's license for all signers on the account. Treasurer binder. This is a treasurer binder. I think it's a 3, 4, I forget what it is. This is going to be kept by your pillow every single night. So, because if Madam President calls you and wants you to know how much money is in that account, you got to know it. I recommend forgot what these things are called, but they're in months. They're in months, January to December. Sometimes some networks have 2 of these. That's how big they are on events and documents. I'm a paper person, so I print out everything and everything goes into that binder. So you're gonna need your bylaws and standing rules, the approved budget, your monthly treasury report, your meeting minutes with financial transactions and motions highlighted. You can even get together with the secretary so that she can provide you her motion form, your federal EIN number, a receipt book, your monthly statements, along with the reconciled report and your checkbook. Checks and deposits. Ensure all checks have 2 signatures. Again, go back to your standing rules. If your standing rules do not have this, and it's something that your board agrees on, have 2 signatures. It's for accountability. Never issue a blank check. Doesn't matter if Madam Peggy calls you and she wants you to send her a blank check, you say no. This is the only time you can say no to the president. No. Never issue a check made out to cash. You need to have who it's going to be made to. This is a business. You need to make sure you have who it's made out to. Never issue a check without original receipts. Nowadays, we have Amazon, things are purchased online. That would be considered an original receipt. But if you have a receipt, like you went to the Family Dollar store, Office Depot, and they give you a paper receipt, make a copy of it, email it. If you're not meeting in person, you're gonna have to email it, or they're gonna have to email it to you. Just whenever you can, either have them mail it to you, or when you guys meet up again, collect those originals. You've never also without a travel report. if you're reimbursing because of travel. All checks need to be in accordance with your budget and standing rules. Have a deadline for submitting receipts for reimbursement. Always after an event, say 15 days, this is the deadline. Make sure it's in your standing rules. That way nobody can turn around and say, well, I didn't know and I forgot. And no, standing rules. Standing rules is the Bible. That is your Bible. Another thing, count the money with the person presenting it to you and have them sign the itemized receipt form. You'll receive that shortly. Always deposit money in bank as soon as possible. Don't hold that bank in your car, in your purse. God forbid your car gets broken into, you lose your purse. I don't know how many times we've heard people say, I can't find the money, the deposit. And unfortunately, you as a treasurer will be responsible for those funds. Reconcile your bank statement monthly. That also ensures that you are on track with your budget and you guys are not going over budget. Why a treasurer's report? It allows a membership an opportunity to see how the money is recorded. Transparency is important to all. Transparency is a word. In your report, balance on hand. Of course, always at your treasury report, always make sure that you guys are going over, if you guys are meeting monthly, bi-monthly, however you guys meet, that you guys are covering only that time frame. List of income, list of expenses. Always try to make sure that you have, you let everybody know what the upcoming operating expenses are. That way you guys make sure that you guys have those funds and you guys allocate those funds to those things that are business related before any event or mixer. A list of unclear checks paid out. And the information. So all this presentation is in your manual, so you'll have a copy of it as well. Itemized receipt form. All the cells in yellow have a formula. It's an Excel form. This is what you will be using if somebody's giving you funds after an event, after a mixer, and you count it off. It says right there, signatures. That way you have accountability of how much money was given to you. And you have an extra person sign it so that when the books are reconciled or when you have your governing board meeting and you have to present this form, but then in your checking account, there's a difference account in money, then something needs to be done. Some money got lost somewhere. It got deposited into another bank account because unfortunately it does happen. We are all humans, mistakes happen, and the banks do sometimes make errors and put checks in, deposits into other people's accounts just by one number or the name. What is a budget? A budget is a list of estimated expenses and income and expenses, showing a plan for obtaining funds and spending those funds. Please keep in mind, anything for 2021 cannot be paid for unless your 2021 budget has been approved. Let's see, okay. Your budget needs to be approved by January 1st. And funds are only paid per the budget. Budget must be balanced in income equals expenses. State treasurer by January 15th. That you will need to email that to me. Actually, you will be putting that into the box. Into the box that is going to be given to you, that login that is going to be given to you. And you will need to find out how to set up your budget, how to make sure that you guys are on track, is to get your most current budget versus actual statement to see what was budgeted and what was actually used. In other words, stay within your budget. You don't have the money, you can't spend. Here is a checklist for the local budget. So your 2021 Budget and Finance Committee will be going through your budget and we'll be making sure that you have all of these things on your checklist. If you do not have them, they're gonna either tell you to do it or they'll help you work with it. I will be available to anybody that needs to update their budget. You can reach me and we can set up a Zoom meeting. Here's a sample of a budget. You can see, that the total revenue equals the balance, and you'll be able to see that. There you go, I can see it. Okay. Next thing, request for reimbursement. Self-explanatory. Anytime you want money back, you need to submit a reimbursement form with all the receipts. And you need to be in accordance with your budget and standing rules. If you guys have noticed, budget and standing rules is a ongoing thing. Once again, have a deadline. No reimbursement will not be given out unless you have your president's approval and the appropriate lead, your team lead. Here's a checklist. I'm telling you once again, provided all your receipts. If you're getting reimbursed because of travel, you will need to send a travel report. Here's your reimbursement form. This is what's going to go in your treasurer's book, along with a copy of the check. Rule of thumb, whenever you write out a check, make a copy of it, even if it has a carbon copy when you write the check. It's always best to have more than less. Annual strategic partners. Ms. Sylvia went over this. This is a great way to create revenue. You need to plan your strategic partner packet based on the events that you and the programs that you're going to be having. The treasurer maintains all the payments and provide invoices and receipts, and we maintain all the partner agreements. If you're going on a yearly strategic partner agreement, every January are being billed. I know at state does it a little bit differently, but that would be something regarding, once again, regarding your standing rules. Here's an example of strategic partner opportunities and their application. Your audit committee. So your 2021 president will appoint an audit committee, and of course, goes along with your standing rules. In your standing rules, you do need to see who is part of that committee. Your audit is the check and balances. Your audit committee presents reports at the first meeting of the next year and quarterly, again, regarding your standing rules. You as a treasurer, it is your fiduciary duty to protect members' funds. General liability insurance. So a general liability insurance policy should be carried by all networks. This is something that is used besides the insurance that the hotel where you're having your orientation at, or the hotel where you're having your installation is at. This needs to be something extra. You cannot purchase alcohol. A network cannot purchase alcohol. Best thing is get a sponsor, well, an advertiser, a strategic partner. Best thing, which you don't have to deal with monies at all, have it as a cash bar. Have it as a cash bar. Okay, this is a little bit more regarding the insurance. So each network has an insurance policy of $3,000 under the NAR, National Association of Realtors, professional liability insurance policy, if in good standing. So networks should carry event insurance on all events and should be included in networks and the network's budget. It will be a requirement this year, like I mentioned before, on your audit, finance, budget, and finance committee. It will, they will be looking for that. Sales taxes. Networks are not exempt from paying sales tax. We have to pay sales tax for everything that we purchase. Franchise tax return. They must be filed yearly before May 15th. And once again, you do need to make an appointment with your CPA so that you can provide them the current officer's information. And that will be asked of, you will need your name, I believe date of birth. They may even ask you for your social security to be on that part of that report. It won't be on the actual tax return. That would be under the president, but the CPA does need to know who was a board member that year. When in doubt, contact your CPA accountant for clarification. Okay, before anything, do we have any questions? Because I think I'm done. But I can't see who's asking.
There's one question.
Yes.
Yes, Jen, there is a question in the chat that asks, as a treasurer, if I need direction or questions, who would I reach out to? Would you like to answer that, or would you like me to take that?
You can go ahead and take that, Ms. Patty.
So a local treasurer, your first person you're going to go to is your local president. And then if you don't get an answer or you need further instruction, you'll go to your district vice president. At that point, the district vice president would refer to the president, who may direct you to the state treasurer.
Okay, so I do have some little bit of tidbits for you. Set aside one day, you treasurers, set aside one day for 1 hour a week to update your books. That's very, very helpful. So you're not cramming a day before your governing board meeting. It's also helpful for when the president or the event director needs to know where you're at on funds. Another thing is, do your 2020 taxes as soon as possible. Make sure that in the standing rules that there is a date of when they need to be taken care of. And remember, nothing for an event can be purchased without an approved event budget. So right now, everybody's working on their installations. Before any money can be spent for an installation, you have to have an event budget. You have to have an installation budget approved by the current board. So it would be approved for the 2020 board, has to approve it. And that's going to go for every single event that you hold next year, regardless if it's an event where you're not charging anything, but you have expenses, or you're charging, but you don't have expenses, especially with this year with Zoom. There are a lot of Zoom meetings that are not being charged, but you may have an expense. You may have an expense. So that's another thing. Another thing, I know a lot of networks do use QuickBooks. Am I still good on time? I think I'm probably ahead of time.
Yeah, you are ahead of time, and you have plenty of time because we gave you extra time because you're the treasurer, and people usually have the most questions for this particular session. So please don't be shy, ask your questions.
Okay, so I know, like I was mentioning, I know a lot of the networks have QuickBooks. El Paso does have, and we just started this year, we do have MoneyMinder, moneyminder.com. It is free. Of course, anything that is free has limited, but it is used for non-profit organizations. A lot of the networks don't write a lot of checks, or may not have computer checks. We do not have payroll. So last year we went out and we saw what other, besides paying $300-400 in QuickBooks, we went out, and I went through California, and they use MoneyMinder out there. and we brought it to the 2021 board, 2020 board. They approved it. And that's what we use now. It is $198 if you do the pro. And it's very simple. You can update your budget. I mean, it's very simple. And if anybody wants any more information on that, you guys can reach out to me and I can walk you guys through that. Another thing, which network has 2 checking accounts? Anybody? I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so I can see everybody, because I can't see anybody. Who has
And,
2? Yes, ma'am.
Jen, we have a question to talk about erroneous emails. I just got one the other day from Peggy asking me to transfer some money. And I've gotten them all year long from Peggy and Cheryl. They are after us, you guys. Those criminals are after Women's Council networks. So don't pay something by an email.
Okay, yeah, another thing. Yeah, that's one good thing. So these people, these thieves know when our elections are happening, when our installations are happening, and when our fiscal year starts. So they're going to reach out to treasurers. They're going to reach out to, mainly it's the treasurers that they're reaching out to, sending an email or sending a text that they are being asked to send $500. I'm in a meeting. I can't call you right now, but please wire me, or please send $500 to they even give a bank account, and some of these bank accounts, I mean, they're legit bank accounts, and they send it and the treasurer is saying, oh, Jen sent me this email. I'm going to do it. I don't need to ask her because Jen knows what the hell she's talking about. I don't need to do it. I don't need to ask anybody. I'm going to go ahead and send it out. Always hover over that email. Hover over that email address that is coming from. It can be the S is a Z now. It can be that there's a period. It can be that something. But if that's an email address that you don't recognize, it's a scam. Also, if somebody calls you, I mean, anybody sends you a text or email, it doesn't automatically mean that you have to do what they say. Sit back, contact your president, actually get on the phone with them. Don't send them a text. Get on the phone with them to hear their voice. If they don't answer, or if they say, no, I didn't, okay, well, of course, you know that's not happening. But if you can't get a hold of them, contact your president-elect. But then also go back and say, well, this is not correct because it's not part of our budget. This because they'll say, oh, well, somebody's sick or something happened and they need funds or whatever, or it wasn't part of your budget. Second, it may not be an event that you guys are handling, but it doesn't hurt to call other people. That's why we recommend having 2 signatures on each check. Debit cards, if your debit cards should be on your standing rules, what they are entitled about, what they are, what you can use them for. Now that everything is happening virtually and a lot of the stores and things are closing, then you have to adjust your standing rules to make sure that you can pay something through Amazon. But the best bet, pay it yourself and get that reimbursement. Pay it yourself, get that reimbursement. And I did ask a question, who has the 2 accounts? So I don't know if anybody does, but El Paso does. El Paso does. They have 2 accounts. They have an odd year account and an even year account. Right now we're working on the even year account. So anything for 2021 is going to be going in through our 2020, our odd account. That also helps when you're doing your audit and you're turning over your books to your incoming treasurer. You still have to have the books in your hands to be able to finalize your books through your audit, and then also to present the reports to your CPA or your accountant. You can't turn them over to your the incoming treasurer, because you still need to do that, to hold that. So what we decided it was last year, we just decided to open up another checking account to have them odd and even. So next year, our treasurer for El Paso, she will be given the odd year bank account information, checks, everything, and she can start they can start working as a 2021 board without having to wait on me.
And Jen, we have two more questions. The
Yes.
first one is the money minder $198 a month, or is it $198 a year?
It's $198 a year.
Okay. And the next
$198 a year.
Okay. And the next one is, can you talk about ratifying budgets?
Like what, Miss Rebecca?
So, for instance, we made our budgets for 2020. We had events planned, we had money set up for travel, we had money set up for all kinds of things in the budget. Obviously, COVID came, so we're not traveling, but some expenses that we did not anticipate are things like Zoom, are things like having speakers from other parts of the country come in. The money was there, but we hadn't actually budgeted. And Patty, I want to say I learned this from you. I could be very wrong. And I just kind of feel like everyone else is maybe in the same boat. So what's happening is we have the money to pay for Zoom. We have the money to bring in a speaker or two. They just weren't on the budget as Zoom because we didn't think we would need Zoom this year. So my understanding was that we would have to go back as a network, as the executive line, and ratify the budget. Because once the budget's done, you can't start changing the budget. You essentially have to ratify it. And I just wanted clarification on that so that when our books are finished, we've done it correctly. And maybe, I don't know, maybe Patty might, because I think it was Patty that had mentioned it last year that it stuck in my head.
Yes, Patty, all yours.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll take it, Jen. Yes. So even at the state level, for those of you that were at the September governing board meeting, and I presented the financials to the membership, there were two line items that went over budget on expenses. We'll say one was because we had to purchase a printer and it was $20, $30 more than we had in the budget. Now, we at executive knew that this would be approved. You don't want to go spending money without making sure that your governing board's going to approve it. So when the treasurer presents, say, next month's actual budget versus actual, and something is over budget because you had to get a Zoom account, you had a line item to put it in, right? You put it in your admin or professional services, okay? But now you're over budget. You've spent more than the board approved for this year's budget. So you are going to make a motion, the treasurer will make a motion to ratify the expense line item professional services that went over budget by $55.20. And then the president will ask for a second, and then there'll be discussion, and then the board will approve it. I can't think of anything that's not ever been approved at the local or state level. As long as our leaders are mindful of our members' money, and you want to at least talk to them beforehand to make sure that they're going to approve it. But yes, you will do that at your next governing board meeting, and that will be on your motions list so that at the end of the year or during your quarterly audits, your audit committee needs to know that those items were approved as well.
So I have kind of a second piece to that. Let's pretend, so you're right, we had an admin, we had a line item for cost. Went over budget. And then of course we were very, very under budget for travel. So if we ratify that one line, then we have to go back and ratify that second part, like, hey, we're gonna take this money from travel? No? Okay,
No,
I'm
you're,
asking. We just
no,
leave it.
you leave it. You leave
Okay.
it. When it's over budget and
Yes.
you approve it, and now
Okay.
it's in your minutes that it was approved. Yeah.
Okay. Kim, you got that right.
Okay, there is a question regarding the who files, like for instance, this year's 2020 tax return. It would be the 2020 treasurer. That's why you need to do them as soon as possible. That way, because you don't know if next year your current 2020 treasurer is going to be involved. We always wish that they stay and they continue to go up the ladder to be in the position that we currently are in, but sometimes they finish off their year and you never hear from them again. That's why the president and the treasurer are stuck like glue. You guys need to know what's going on. The president needs to know what's going on with the books at all times. And so that if something like that happens, the treasurer, the president, say that the treasurer, December 31st says goodbye, and we'll see you next year. You don't hear from them again. You have access to QuickBooks, and you're able to do your reports for your tax return. QuickBooks now allows you to upload attachments. Make sure your attachments on anything that is being paid out or received is attached to that line item in QuickBooks. That helps in case your treasurer steps down. God forbid your treasurer passes away. You as a president the president has to have access to your books. So what better way than not only having your binder, which is in your treasurer's hands, but through QuickBooks or MoneyMinder or Quicken or whatever system you use, even if you're still using Excel, make sure that all receipts, all reimbursements, all checks paid out are uploaded to that accounting system.
So Jen?
Yes, ma'am.
Chris is on her way.
Okay.
And so one thing I do want to mention, and I'm very excited about, even for the state, but certainly for our local networks, because much of the cost to facilitate the program will be borne by Women's Council National, and that is Bill Highway.
Yes.
So we are very excited about this, and I'm hoping that we can get some information about it. It's being sort of beta tested with some of our networks. So anyone that's interested can go through a certain process to be included in the beta testing. But certainly we will want to ask Chris about this Bill Highway, because if we could get everything to be sort of homogenous with all of our networks all across the country, can you imagine how that would really help us in our bookkeeping? It would be so much easier. Somebody from Oregon could teach you how to do your books in Texas, because it's going to be so seamless. So it's pretty exciting, and I hope we'll hear more about it. And Chris will be coming in shortly. I'm waiting for notification from Karen when she arrives, so that Jen can go forward with introducing her. So I'm sorry for interrupting, Jen, but
No, that's fine.
just wanted to bring that very exciting thing up. And yes, on those emails, y'all, last year when I was treasurer, I got 100 of those emails of people asking me to transfer money. Hurry up, do it right now because I need it. It's an emergency. And it's because treasurer is in the email address for state. And
yes,
that even makes us more of a